Over 500,000 Americans today are experiencing homelessness, and at least 5.6 million Americans are experiencing food insecurities. We affirm the proposition that the United States federal government should substantially increase social services for persons living in poverty in the United States. We define the terms federal government as a system of government that divides the power between a larger central government and the local and regional governments beneath it. We define social services as a range of public services provided by the government, private, profit, and non-profit organizations. These public services aim to create a more effective organizations, build stronger communities, and promote equality and opportunity. Lastly, we define poverty as a state of or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Poverty means that the income level from employment is so low that the basic human needs cannot be met. The state of American homelessness and food insecurity does not just disappear on its own. It is the federal government's duty to take care of the American people living in distraught situations. My team and I will be discussing the urgent policies necessary for the people living in distraught situations. Now that I have stated our proposition, defined the terms, and stated our preview, I will now announce our plan of action in order to achieve these detrimental changes to better our society. The U.S. federal government should protect the American people from struggling and falling into poverty. There should be precautions and assistance for those Americans who are unable to provide food on the table for their children or even themselves. The United States government should recognize their citizens in harm and take action in solving the never-ending food insecurity rates. According to the statistics from the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, in 2018, 35.3% of households with incomes below the federal poverty line were food insecure. Food insecure households include those with low food security and very low food security. I'll fix that. The impact food insecurity does to the future of children dealing with the hardship is irreversible. Over 220,000 Americans with children in their households experience food insecurity at some point. The issue is the cycle of food insecurity tends to repeat within families. If we're able to shift our government system in a way that breaks the cycle for these poverty-destined families, then we may have found a cure to many more issues than just food insecurity now. Single mothers, children, individuals, veterans, and more Americans are experiencing devastating poverty rates that do not allow them to provide for their children nor themselves. The children of our next generations are unable to be fed due to a lack of policy in the system. If we're able to fix this ongoing food insecurity issue in America, we would be able to not only save the next generation of Americans' future, but as well be able to better society as a whole. Now that I've discussed our first harm, now I will introduce our second. Homelessness is a serious issue in America that goes unnoticed. Currently, there are 553,000 homeless people in the United States, according to the endhomeless.org. The United States government needs to discover a plan of action in order to protect the lives of our American veterans and people. Doing so, we're not only saving the lives, but as well preventing the future death and struggle for many other Americans. The National Alliance to End Homelessness mentions the statistics of Americans unable to have a place to sleep at night, mentioning over 500,000 Americans were experiencing homelessness in 2018. The state of homelessness in America is not only worrisome for the individual lives of those experiencing it, but as well the families involved. Homelessness is a serious issue for Americans, and it is important we take care of our citizens. Homelessness causes underlying economic struggle due to the massive poverty rates. Also, homelessness has a large impact on our next generation of children. Oftentimes, addiction and drug use is involved in the homelessness, and if we're able to prevent this from trending, we will be able to help future American people. Preventing homelessness in our society will decrease poverty rates and provide a safer, better quality of life for Americans. The causes of homelessness are often due to a lack of income, unaffordable housing, poverty, drug abuse, and mental illness. If we're able to break the trend of economic and social turmoil from the homeless issue, we will be able to create a safer and stronger country of a people. There are many structural factors, such as economic and societal issues, that affect opportunities and social environments for individuals. One cause of the homelessness is poverty. Homelessness and poverty are extremely linked. Unfortunately, many people in poverty do not have access to life necessities such as healthcare, housing, food, childcare, and education. Therefore, living in poverty is very close to living on the streets. The common myth with the homelessness is it seems to be someone else's problem. The truth is there will always be a ripple effect in a community from homelessness. If we're able to break the trend of economic and social turmoil from the homeless issue, we will be able to create a safer and stronger country of people. Now that I have discussed my team's harms, now I'll begin talking about our plan of action in order to achieve these detrimental changes to better society and our world. Our plan of action is to increase the budget for social service programs. Our plan will be enacted by the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. This federal department oversees the performance of federal agencies and administers the federal budget. The OMB will redirect the money in the discretionary budget to increase the funding of social services for the people in poverty and reduce the funding of national defense. It will be enforced by the United States Department of Health and Human Services. As for funding, there will be cuts to the Department of Defense budget, which will be appointed $663.3 billion this year alone, compared to the $69 billion given to the Department of Health and Human Services. We're confident our plan of action will reduce food insecurity and homelessness because of the obvious link between poverty, homelessness, and food insecurity. People who live in poverty are often raised in poverty. The family trend of poverty rates has a massive impact on the cause. So, if we're able to help those families in need and support each other, then we will be able to beat these massive poverty rates in America. This plan of action needs to be implemented as soon as possible. When implemented, we will see a change in our society, a change that not only benefits those living on the streets and in poverty, but a change that allows more kindness in our country, a change that invites helping others as a normality in our world. Thank you.